Imagine living in constant fear, looking over your shoulder every time you went to work. For the people of Israel, this was their reality. A powerful enemy, the Midianites, would sweep through the land like locusts, stealing their crops, their livestock, and their hope. The Israelites were beaten down, hiding in caves, wondering if God had forgotten them. And in the middle of this, we find our hero. But he's not what you'd expect. He's not a muscle-bound warrior. His name is Gideon, and when we first meet him, he's hiding. He's threshing wheat in a winepress, a pit normally used for crushing grapes, just to stay out of sight and save a handful of grain from the raiders. He is, by his own admission, the least likely person to save anyone.
The Lord is with you, mighty warrior.
Excuse me? If the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all the miracles our ancestors told us about? It feels like he's abandoned us.
Gideon isn't being rude, he's being honest. He's frustrated and scared. But then, the traveler says something that changes everything.
Go in the strength you have. I am sending you to save Israel.
Me? My clan is the weakest in our whole tribe, and I am the least important person in my family. You've got the wrong guy.
But it wasn't the wrong guy. God saw something in Gideon that Gideon couldn't see in himself. Potential. The first lesson for Gideon, and for us, is that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. It's in this moment, face to face with the divine, that Gideon gets his first real taste of God's power. And he's terrified. But God speaks peace to him. Peace. Do not be afraid. Gideon's first assignment isn't to raise an army, it's personal. God tells him to tear down his own father's altar to a foreign god, a deeply controversial and dangerous act. And he does it. At night, because he's still scared. But he does it. This is Gideon's first step of faith. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. Now God's Spirit comes upon Gideon, and he rallies an army of 32,000 men. It's impressive, but God looks at it and says,
That's too many.
God knew a secret. If Israel won with a huge army, they would boast, saying, "My own strength has saved me." So, God tells Gideon to whittle the army down. First, anyone who is afraid can go home. Gideon is left with 10,000, a fraction of what he started with. But God says,
Still too many.
God tells Gideon to watch how the men drink. The vast majority kneel down, but 300 men, just 300, are so alert and ready for battle that they scoop the water to their mouths without lowering their guard.
With the 300 men who lapped the water, I will save you.
Gideon looks down at the enemy, a vast sea of tents. Then he looks at his 300 men. The odds are impossible, and he's afraid. Again. So God, in his kindness, gives Gideon one more nudge.
I had the strangest dream. A loaf of barley bread came tumbling into our camp. It hit our tent so hard, it collapsed.
That can only mean one thing.
God has given Gideon the Israelite victory over us.
Hearing his own name in the enemy's fearful prophecy. That was all Gideon needed. His faith finally caught up with his calling. He returns to his 300 and reveals the plan. It's unconventional.
Watch me and do what I do. When we get to the edge of the camp, follow my lead. A sword for the Lord and for Gideon.
Trumpets blaring, torches blazing, jars shattering. In the confusion, the Midianite army, in a panic, turns their swords on each other and flees into the night. The 300 didn't even have to draw a sword. The victory was won by obedience, not by muscle. From a man hiding in a hole, Gideon became a mighty warrior, a judge who led Israel to 40 years of peace. His story isn't about his strength, but about God's strength being made perfect in human weakness. So what can we learn from Gideon? 1. God sees your potential. He calls you a mighty warrior long before you feel like one. Your current circumstances don't define your future. 2. Faith grows step by step. God was patient with Gideon's doubts. He gave him signs and reassurance. It's okay to ask, God, is that really you? 3. Less of me, more of you. God reduced the army so there would be no doubt about who saved them. In our lives, when we feel weak and insufficient, that's often when God does His best work. Maybe you're in your own winepress today, feeling afraid, overlooked, or ill-equipped for the challenge in front of you. Remember Gideon. Your weakness is not a barrier to God. It's an invitation for Him to show His strength. Go in the strength you have, no matter how small it feels, because the God who called Gideon is calling you too.